Chris Min, everybody.
Keep it going for our hosts. Thank you. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'm one of those guys who had a hard time fitting in, but I might have had some more challenges than some. My parents got lost, and they were Korean immigrants, but I got born in Houston, Texas. Worse yet, I was brought up Southern Baptist, which, this is a New York crowd. You guys probably don't really know what that means, but among other things, they thought that rock and roll is the music of the devil, and they didn't need to have the pandemic to establish that the rule in dancing is 6 feet apart. But, I had these traumatic memories of childhood, and I'd be like, these can't be true, right? I mean, they're so traumatic. But then I had to get my birth certificate from Texas because I had to do a visa application, and I got to see what these Texas docs label me as. And in the box for race or color, I thought maybe they would say something a little outdated like Oriental, but no, they just had the word yellow. So those memories were real. But you know what? I love white people. I really do. But I especially love my white people, which of course are Koreans who think they're white. Take my brother, okay? He drives a Ford F-150 pickup truck. He married a white trash girl who grew up in a trailer park, who had a 12-year-old before they got married. And yeah, they're divorced now. He owns a bunch of guns, and he voted for Trump. So basically, he's this misogynistic, racist Southerner who just happens to be Korean, But, and then there's my mom. I really try to avoid talking politics with her, but I had to ask her, Mom, why do you vote for Trump in every election? And you know what she told me? She said, I feel like he's fighting for me. And I'm like, how do I break it to her, this little 80-year-old Korean woman who lives in Oklahoma, that as far as she's concerned, MAGA means make Asians go away. But then I didn't fit in with my own kind because I had the wrong musical instrument. I'm Korean, and if you know Koreans, or if worse yet, you are Korean, you know that we don't have a choice. We grow up with a musical instrument. Problem was I had the wrong one. I was growing up in Houston, Texas. They didn't trust the public schools, couldn't afford a private school, so they sent me to this weird religious school where starting in kindergarten, I learned Highland dancing. So I get to third grade for band, and I got two choices. I had the drums or the instrument that I chose, which was the Scottish bagpipes. And so, when you meet that cute Korean girl and she's like, oh, what do you do on the weekends? She really doesn't get into it that you run around in a skirt. But, I grew up and I became a doctor. And the only problem is I really hate doctors. I try to avoid their parties as much as possible. I'm married to a lawyer. I've been to a lot of lawyer parties. They're a lot more fun. Part of the problem is they only talk about malpractice or how they spend their money. And malpractice, well, that's about as exciting as it sounds. And, with the money thing, I guess that's how I ended up on a urologist boat one time. And it was actually kind of nice. The sun was coming down, wind's going through your hair, and I was just like, well, this is kind of nice. But then I just started cringing when I thought about the name of the boat, which was the Golden Stream 2. And I just thought, who names their prized possession after a stinky body fluid? And then, what are his nicknames for his kids? Anyway, so the other thing that I guess my parents thought I was really killing it as that funny yellow boy who blows on the pipes in Texas, because the next stop was Des Moines, Iowa. And I thought I knew white people before then, but wow. All I could see was white, and I had to come up with, it was like, oh, those are German whites, oh, those are British whites, Irish whites, Polish. I felt like those Native Americans who supposedly have 200 words for the color blue. But it's kind of hard to have that experience here in New York City, Every room tends to have a mix, but, I managed to do it. I bought some concert tickets for my wife's birthday. We found ourselves in Madison Square Garden where there were 20,000 white people all around us. And I was like, holy shit. feels kind of like a white supremacist rally or something. But everybody was really nice. They were in a good mood. And then Billy Joel came out and sang Uptown Girl. So anyway, being older, I have the pleasure of having full adult children who really look down on all my style choices. Like this necklace, for example, drives them nuts. And, I had to come up with something because people would comment on it. They're like, what's that for? And I'd be like, it's the center of my soul. But they wouldn't think I was serious, but they wouldn't want to challenge me because they were like, I don't want to be called racist because I don't know his religion. But then they never believe me when I just show them what it's for. I'm Chris. Thanks, guys.